Welcome to a deep dive into the mechanics of meaning. The conceptual roadmap we are exploring today is based directly on the curriculum prepared by Mahmoud Al-Said, who mapped out the foundational points of this fascinating subject. Imagine finding a note on the ground reading, "I'll meet you here tomorrow to do that." If you open a dictionary, you know exactly what every single word in that sentence means, but you have absolutely no idea what the message is actually saying. Who is I? Where is here? When is tomorrow? And what exactly is that? To decode it, you have to look outside the dictionary. That is the exact domain of pragmatics, the study of how listeners make inferences about intended meaning based on the physical and social world surrounding a statement. Without this ability to read the environment, human communication breaks down. We have to constantly bridge the gap between strict literal definitions and real-world intent. The first pillar, bridging that gap, is context, which limits our range of possible interpretations. We can divide this into two categories. First is cotext, the surrounding words in a sentence. It's what tells you that the bank in riverbank is made of mud, while the bank in bank account holds money. But then there is the broader context, the world outside the text. This includes the situational context, like seeing a closed sign on a physical door, the socio-cultural context, which dictates how formal you should be, and the epistemic context, which is the background knowledge you share with the person you are talking to. This brings us to the second pillar, deixis. Coming from the Greek word for pointing, deixis involves linguistic forms that exist entirely to point to specific things in a given environment. These words carry zero fixed meaning on their own. They shift completely depending on the speaker. Person deixis covers pronouns like I and you. Spatial deixis relies on physical location, using words like here and there. Temporal deixis points to time, with now or yesterday. And discourse deixis points to parts of a conversation, like saying, "That was a great joke." Finally, there is social deixis. We use language to point to social relationships and status within a hierarchy, invoking specific titles or honorifics, like addressing a judge as Your Honor instead of calling him by his first name. Together, context and deixis provide the necessary first steps to anchor abstract vocabulary to physical reality and specific people. Once words are anchored to reality, they start doing actual work. This is the third pillar, speech-act theory. Every time we speak, we perform an action, like making a promise, issuing an order, or delivering a threat. Philosopher J.L. Austin proposed every utterance carries three simultaneous layers of action. The foundation is the locutionary act, the literal meaning. Beneath that is the illocutionary act, the intended force, like a hidden request. Finally, the perlocutionary act, the actual psychological effect, like successfully scaring the listener. John Searle expanded on this by categorizing these actions. He identified assertives, which state truths, directives, which command listeners to do something, commissives, which commit the speaker to future actions, and expressives, which display psychological states like apologizing. The final category is declarations. These are acts that alter the reality or status of an object simply by being spoken aloud. When a sponsor swings a bottle and says, "I name this ship," the vessel's identity is permanently changed in the real world through speech alone. Language operates as an active tool that we deploy to enforce changes and manipulate relationships. To use these tools effectively, we rely on a massive, unspoken psychological contract. Paul Grice called this the Cooperative Principle, which states that participants in a conversation naturally assume everyone involved is trying to be helpful and relevant. Grice outlined 4 specific maxims we expect each other to follow: quantity, meaning you give exactly as much information as needed; quality, meaning you speak the truth; relation, meaning you stay on topic; and manner, meaning you remain clear and organized. This brings us to our final pillar, implicature. Because we assume people are generally cooperative, we notice when they purposefully violate one of these maxims. If someone gives way too little information, the listener infers an additional unstated meaning by reading between the lines. There are 2 types of this hidden meaning. Conversational implicature requires the context of the interaction and Grice's maxims to decode. Conventional implicature, however, is built directly into specific words. The word but, for instance, will automatically imply a contrast by convention alone, no matter the context. Passing a hidden message right in front of someone only works because we inherently trust that the other person is playing by the exact same rules of cooperation. Language operates far beyond the strict boundaries of a dictionary. It acts as an invisible collaboration between minds, adapting fluidly to the environment around it. We take simple acoustic vibrations in the air and turn them into meaningful, reality-altering actions, purely by relying on our shared physical spaces, our clear social statuses, and our innate cooperative nature. We'd like to extend a special thanks to Mahmoud Al-Said. The conceptual roadmap for this entire lesson was prepared entirely by him, and this video wouldn't be possible without his foundational work. To master human communication, you have to look past what is explicitly said and study the vast, unseen world of what is actually